Hey, welcome back. I'm Janet with Purl Together. In this week's technique video, we're going to work on block 3, or the February set of blocks. It is a set for the Berroco Mystery Blanket Knit-Along. So it's a set of blocks where we're going to just do a simple stockinette block knitted from the outside in different color combinations. So the total number of blocks that you'll knit for this motif will be 6, but you don't have to do them all at once. As we go throughout the months, you may have some months that only have one block for a pattern release from Berroco. So maybe you'll just pick up an extra of the February blocks. So there are 6 different color combinations. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This one I think is version C, as in cat. I haven't blocked it yet, obviously. But so you're doing a border and we're knitting it from the outside in. So once it's blocked, it will look, more like that. And I'm going to show you an easy way to cast on all these stitches on the outside, and then we're going to do some decreases, paired decreases, and knit inward. I'll show you how I do that. I'll also show you how I join the yarns in different colors. Before we get started, I want to just give a quick shout out to 3 brand new patrons in the last couple of weeks. They've joined me over at patreon.com/Purl Together. And so people that become patrons get some perks in trade for supporting the channel, so you can head over there and see what I'm offering for that. But I want to give a hearty thank you to brand new members recently. Thanks so much to Fawn, Kimberly, and Beth. Thanks so much for joining the channel. Another option, if you want to support this channel, is to become a YouTube member, and you can see the link for that. It's a button that says join right down next to the subscribe button. Okay, let's get started with the cast on. So when we talk about the cast on, I'm using a long tail cast on, and we're going to cast on a whole bunch of stitches, like a total of 216 stitches, because we're going to cast on all the way around, and then we're knitting toward the inside by doing these paired decreases and coming to a center here. Things are backwards. So you're thinking long tail cast on with over 200 stitches. That's a total pain in my bleep. However, I have a method to make things easier for you so that you know how much to pull out. I have a long tail cast on calculator. So if you're interested in the actual math, I'll go over that just briefly, but you can also get this calculator from my website, and then you can just use it, bookmark it on your browser, and just use it over and over. So the idea is that you're going to put in the number of stitches that you need times multiplied by the size needle that you're using. So for me, I'm using a US size 7 or a 4.5 millimeter. Now this cast on uses millimeters and centimeters. So you're going to just input 216 stitches times whatever needle size you're using in order to get gauge. And that depends on you as the individual knitter. Now, if you don't want to swatch for this block, because this always brings up that question, if you don't want to swatch for this block, go ahead and cast on, and then you're going to knit, the first 8 or 9 rows and then measure your gauge. If you don't know what your gauge is due to knitting the previous blocks, then I would suggest doing a little 4x4 swatch, 4 inches by 4 inches. But you might have a good idea what your gauge is now because you've already knitted the first 2 blocks. Block 1 and 2. So I'm going to put in 216 stitches times 4.5 millimeters times pi. That's the key, is times 3.14. So if you don't want to use the calculator on my website, that's totally fine. You can do the math yourself. Just put in your calculator 4.5 millimeters times 216 stitches times 3.14, which is pi, because you're accounting for the circumference of your needle. But then you need to go calculate the difference between millimeters and centimeters, and then divide by 2.5 if you prefer to use inches. That's going to give you your cast on tail. And then I like to add, 6 or 8 inches to hang on to and to have a tail that we're going to sew these blocks together. So for me, that ended up being like 120 inches. And I know that sounds like a ridiculous amount, but for me, that's what it works out to for my size 7 needle. So I'm going to stretch this out. My wingspan is about 6 feet because I'm a tall person. So that's roughly 70 inches, but I need another 50. So I'm going to do another yard. You remember this, how your mother would measure a yard? You know, your mileage may vary depending on the length of your arms, obviously, but that's how we're going to do it. I'll put the links down below if you want to use my cast on calculator. It's handy for all kinds of projects. That's where I'm going to start. Okay. So I'm going to start casting on, and we'll head over to my work table so I can show you. If you're a brand new knitter, I'll show you how I like to do this. I hope that made sense. Drop me a comment down below if you don't understand the cast on thing I just talked about with the math. And if you don't want to do the math, go get the calculator. The link's down below. All right, we're going to get started with our long tail cast on. I've measured off my 120 some odd inches plus my tail that I want to hang on to and to sew things together. Now, you can do a slip knot if you want. I just like to do a little kind of a fold over loop right over left, and then I put my needle up inside that. So the other thing I want to point out real quick, these are some brand new needles I got at Scenic Stitches in Tennessee last weekend. BHFA stands for Brickhouse Fiber Arts. This is a US 7 or 4.5 millimeter, and it's hexagonal. So it's a little easier on your hands because you have a flat surface to hang on to. I'll put a link for these down below. Mine has all of these needles have a coated stainless steel cable that's lovely and has no memory. So the one I'm using, I think, is either a 32 or a 40-inch cable, and I'm going to magic loop this when I get down to a smaller circumference. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and do my long tail cast on. I do a pinch, make a triangle, go up underneath inside the triangle, and wrap counterclockwise. A lot of people do their one-handed cast on. This is just how I learned from my grandmother when I was small. So you do what works best for you. If you're new to this and you need some help in a slow motion, more detailed video, there's a link down below in the video description about the long tail cast on. And also another video about the calculator if you're interested to know more about that. So this is going to be a minute. I am not counting as I go. Normally I would when I'm not talking to you, but we're going to do 54 stitches and then place a marker. Okay, double check that you have your 54 stitches, like recount them, and then place your marker and do another set of 54. So we're going to do this all the way around until we have a total of 216 stitches on the needle. Okay, once I'm done casting on all my stitches and I have double counted everything between my markers, just because I want to make sure. Now I'm going to lay out my bed long circular and make sure that nothing's twisted and that my cast on edge is all toward the center of my circle. Then I'm just going to join in the round, and honestly, I don't do anything fancy. I know a lot of people will, swap places with the first and last stitch. Every time I've tried to do that, it widens out, and then I have this great big mess of a ladder and a big gap. I don't like that. I'll show you what I do. It's pretty simple and straightforward, and if you have made sure that everything is straight all the way around and nothing is twisted, then you can go ahead and go into the first stitch. What I like to do is go into the first stitch as if to purl, like this, and then I take the tail, not my working iron, but the tail, and I take that underneath and wrap that and push it through. So then all I'm doing is pushing the tail through that first stitch. Make sure that's to the back and that your working yarn is to the back, and then I just tie a little knot. Honestly, I just tie a square knot, or actually 2 half hitches. Because what that does for me is that cinches those 2 stitches together securely, and I know I'm not going to have a ladder or a big gap right at the beginning of the round. Speaking of beginning of the round, now is when you want to put your beginning of the round marker right there. So I need to find one. Okay, so I have a kind of large beginning of the round marker, but I kind of like it because it's a little skull head. Yeah, that will definitely get my attention when I get to the beginning of the round. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is just knit 1 round, being careful not to start knitting with my tail, which, I've done that a lot too. So just knit 1 round all the way around. If you're magic looping, that's fine. I think this is a 100 centimeter or 40-inch circular needle, like I said, and that's going to serve me well for a little bit until we start doing a bunch of decreases, and then I'll show you how I'm going to manage that. Also, you can refer to Alison's video today from Alison from Berroco about her tips for various ways to knit in the round and do your decreases, whether that's using 2 circulars, magic loop, or double points. All right, we've knitted 1 complete round, and now we're going to knit 2 decrease rounds. So to start with, we're just going to knit the first stitch and then simply do a knit 2 together. So one thing to keep in mind as we go around doing this on each side of your marker is that your decreases are going to lean toward the marker. So let me knit across here to the next one. I'll show you what I mean. All right, I've knit across until I am 3 stitches before the marker. Now I'm going to do a slip knit. So that's a left leaning decrease that points toward the marker. So this is the way I do it. Some people do it differently, and that's totally fine. I slip as if to knit, and then I go into this one as if to purl. I find that this makes it lay a little flatter, and then I knit through the back loop of both of those stitches. Like I said, I realize that's different than what some people do, and that's totally fine. So then I just knit the next stitch, slip my marker, knit 1, knit 2 together, because the knit 2 together creates a decrease that leans toward the right. So you can see now that I have a decrease that leans to the left. See that? It's pointing toward the marker, and then one that leans toward the right. So that's what's going to help us make that ridge that leans toward the center. So then just knit across until you get to 3 stitches before the next marker and do the same thing. All right, after you finish 2 of the decrease rounds, which means you'll be finishing row 3, I want you to take notice of a couple of things. First of all, every time you do a decrease round, you're lessening your stitch count by 8. So at some point, instead of knitting round and round on a 40-inch circular or 32 or whatever it is you're using, you're going to have to find a way to knit a smaller circumference. So as I mentioned earlier, Alison from Berroco Yarns has created a video about knitting smaller circumference projects. And so I'll link to that down below in the video description. What I like to do is start off with I believe what's called a traveling loop, where as soon as I'm finished knitting this round, I'm going to take off my marker because a big loop is going to designate my beginning of the round. So I just pull out my cable and I suck everything up to make this a smaller diameter. And then I just loop around my cable right here and begin knitting. So I've got this loop here, and it's going so it's like a half a magic loop, if you will. And then I can certainly change to a magic loop when the diameter of my project is small enough to warrant that. So I'm back on the plain round, which was round 1, because I'm now repeating round 1, 2, and 3 for the second time. When I get over here, I want to show you how you can read your knitting to determine which round you need to be on, and also how to count from the beginning. If you have to set your project down and you're a little confused about what's going on and what's next, that's the tip that's coming up. Okay, there's a couple of things I'd like for you to think about. One is, when we began, we had 54 stitches in each section between the markers. So since we've gone around and done 2 decrease rounds, that means in each section we should have decreased 2 stitches for each decrease round. So now we should have 50 stitches between the markers. So that's one thing to double check. The other thing is, particularly on the left leaning decreases, you can plainly see that there's one decrease there and there's another decrease there. And then we had our plain round in the beginning. So if you learn to read your knitting, you can see this will be a plain round, because we've had 1 plain round, round 2 was a decrease, round 3 was a decrease, and now we need to have another plain round. So if you learn to read your knitting, you can totally see what's going on. The other thing is, once we have completed this border section, if you just look at how many rounds we're going to do, you can count your rounds from the beginning. So here's our edge. Now this first one was our cast on, so that doesn't count. We've knitted 1, 2, and 3 is on the needles currently, but I count that because it has already been knitted. So I am on round 4, which is a plain round, the same as row 1. So I hope that makes sense and you find that helpful. Okay, I finished the 8 rounds for the border color. And remember, when you count your rows, remember your first V right there is the cast on. And then I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is the loop on the needles or on the cable. So I've cut this and I've left myself 4 or 5 inches here. And the way that I go about adding my new color is just I fold this over. So I have probably a 4-inch overlap or so. And then I just go up through the center with my 2 fingers down around the outside. So I'm creating what's called a lark's head. And it's basically 2 half hitches that are folded together. And then I just put that on there and I cinch that up really good and tight. And then I slide it down so it's right snug up against my cable. And that keeps that pretty tight there so that I don't have a gap or a ladder with my color change. So then I just tuck that tail around and I tuck the lighter color tail around and carry on with my next decrease round. So starting this new color will be decrease round 3. So if you have been kind of paying attention, you'll notice that I am doing version B for this particular video. I've already done version A so that I can show you the finished square. And I'm working on version B at the moment. So just be careful when you're going through the instructions that you're being mindful of which color that you're knitting and which sequence and which square. Okay, this is the first square, version A, that is now finished. And the only other thing I wanted to tell you about is once you do all your decreasing and you get to the center, all I did here was get down to the last few stitches as indicated by the pattern. And then I just took a darning needle and ran the tail end all the way around, cinched it up like a purse string, and poked it through this other side. So you could do that a couple of times if you wanted to. Just take your darning needle and run it through all the stitches around. And then I'm just going to weave this in like you normally would. And weave in all your other ends. I usually wait to do that till after blocking. Okay, I hope you found those tips to be helpful. So this is version A. Version B is what I have on the needles now. I don't know why I'm doing them out of order, just whatever color came. This is version C. So these are going to be really cool looking when they're blocked. I'm excited to see what they look like next to blocks 1 and 2 that we've already completed. So I'm noticing in the Berroco makers group on Facebook and then also on Ravelry, there's been a fair number of people complaining about 6 blocks in 1 month. But let's be clear, as Alison Green noted in my podcast with her, you don't need to do all 6 blocks during this 1 month. It's totally fine to space them out. You have until the end of the year to do this. Having said that, though, there will be a month or 2 where you only have 1 block and you could just do another block from February. So I'm just keeping track of which ones I've already done so I don't have to go back and look at the colors. I just took a little string tag and attached it and wrote C on there, version C, so that I'll know which versions I've already completed. So take your time. This is a pretty simple knit. It's good for Netflix knitting. I've really enjoyed it. It goes pretty quickly. Actually, I've knitted 2.5 of these in a couple of days. And if you're wanting it to just be kind of a fill-in between other projects, it is certainly that. So don't stress about it. Take your time and enjoy it. That's what this is all about, right? It's supposed to be fun, people. I would love to see your blocks on Instagram. Tag me at Purl_together. And then also be sure to tag your projects for Berroco as well so they can see. Okay, I hope you're doing well and have a relaxing knitting weekend. Knit your blocks while you're watching the Super Bowl if that's your jam. All right, take care. I'll see you next time.